Most definitions of racism are incomplete. In focusing almost exclusively on displays of hatred or meanness, they overlook the broad spectrum of attitudes and actions, some seemingly benign, generated by the ideology of race. In recognizing only harm to those disadvantaged by race, they prevent us from diagnosing and treating injuries to those with racial privilege. Recent studies of racism's impact in arenas such as medicine, publishing, and education offer a glimpse of these untreated injuries. A 2016 study that describes, quote, non-Black teachers as having significantly lower expectations for Black students than for white students is suggestive of racism's injury to whites and others. Since the median age of public school teachers in the US is 42, a majority would have been born after US apartheid officially ended. These non-Black teachers who hold low expectations for their Black students are, I imagine, like many students I have taught, people who love children, who entered the profession in order to make a positive difference, people who are morally competent. Although racist attitudes and actions obviously have moral implications, is racism itself a moral disorder involving people who are quote-unquote bad? My answer is no. Apart from those small but increasingly visible numbers of people who embrace the distorted definitions posited by the ideology of race and who proudly wear the label, is it useful or productive to call anyone a racist? Probably not. And if a white person's attitudes and actions towards non-whites and other whites have been impaired by racial ideology, is it important for that person to self-diagnose their own injury? Absolutely. One of the requirements for and signs of maturity is the capacity for self-examination and self-correction. What we need then are diagnostic tools, not accusatory labels. As a psychosocial spectrum disorder, racism stems from an involuntary and symmetrical blindness to one's own and other people's human worth. From its foundational definition of human worth, the ideology of race crafts other hierarchical definitions of human capacities, achievements, potential, and rights. Racism operates through both conditioned emotional detachment from and hyperattachment to persons positioned at various tiers on the resulting hierarchy of human worth and entitlement. The spectrum of attitudes towards persons positioned at or near the bottom of the hierarchy include, but are not limited to, suspicion, fear, mistrust, a desire to rescue, a lack of concern for actual and potential danger to such persons, a sense of the lesser importance of their roles and contributions. On the other hand, the spectrum of attitudes towards persons positioned at or near the top of the hierarchy include, but are not limited to, feelings of comfort, interestedness, trust, concern at real or imagined danger to such persons, a sense of the greater relevance of their roles and contributions. So go ahead, it's safe to do so. Ask yourself the question, am I on the spectrum? If I am, what does it mean for me? And what do I do about it? If the answers matter to you, and they do, I invite you to read Racism's Uprooting, White Racial Jeopardy and Democracy in the current issue of Black Renaissance Noir. Thank you.